everyone, this is Marlyonama here, and I'm just here to thank you for subscribing to my channels. And now, to celebrate, I actually have 50 subscribers, which is not much, but however, since this channel's been up for the past 7 years, this is a huge milestone. I really wish that I could continue far past 50 because I really enjoy people who enjoy my work and stuff like that, and I will continue to create better content for my shows like retrospective reviews and whatnot in the future. And to celebrate this milestone through which has been achieved through very anemic growth over the years, I am just gonna do another video commentary on retrospective reviews. Now, in this one, I'm actually gonna do I'm gonna do a commentary on. The reason I'm doing a commentary on the Time Machine because there's probably a lot of screw-ups there and a lot of filler, like the skits I did in between, and also something I take very personally. As you see through the opening sequence here, this was actually done about a week after the unfortunate tragedy happened with my old dog Mia, but for a newer audience, for my newer audience, you could probably she looks a lot like Angel, but is more frail and wiry, and but you can actually check her out on old videos of her just making funny noises, and also you can also check her out as on one of my a few of my older episodes of retrospective reviews, the earlier ones beforehand. But again, it was sad and end. I was actually supposed to review another film, but I decided to do. But there was an abrupt change in plans, and I just gave it a very solemn intro. And yeah, because this was actually right after my one of my Digimon reviews, where I actually had Mia basically be a little escape artist towards the end. That was actually edited out because the unfortunate thing that happened. And if you can read, a friend was babysitting her while I was working on a film project with one of the film clubs I was in at college called Raven Films, and I was there all day. I really didn't want her to get bored and from separation anxiety while leaving her at home. But then in the end, I realized that might have been the best thing to do, and but everything was going good until my friend's stupid old drunk boyfriend came over and begged her to open the door, and that's when she ran out the door of the apartment and got hit by a car while she was trying to find her way home. But again, alas, this is not the end of the story. It has a happy ending. I got Angel. She's far sweeter and far softer in my opinion. They're just as pretty, sure, but you know, every dog has her quirk. Alright, now on to the content I am reviewing here. I was reviewing the 2002 adaptation of The Time Machine, based on a book of the same name by H.G. Wells, and ironically, from his great-grandson, and it actually does a big bitch slap, I still believe so, it does a tremendous bitch slap to the face of people who read the original novel, and of course the theory of time travel. Now, I will say that most of it is debated because our technology doesn't allow for testing and observation to prove if these theories are incorrect or not. Now, the UFO theory might actually be time travelers from the future. Who knows if they're from a different planet or planet Earth or whatnot. I mean, they could be human beings from the far future, or who knows, because they just vanish as soon as they appear. They don't really abduct people. And screw those who basically, yeah, and a lot of these sci-fi channels and Discovery Channel specials are just a bunch of idiocy. Sorry, words stuck in my mouth. I actually have kind of a bit of a cold sore, and the right now I'm dealing with a bit of a irritating cold sore on my right lip here, on the right side of my mouth between my lips, and it's irritating me. So then again, as I said, it was not really based on the the scientific discoveries. It was solely based on a tragic love story, and that's basically why I inspired it. Plus, when I first saw it a long time ago, when it was on TV at one point, it really bothered me. It's just something about it. It just insulted my intelligence, and it was, of course, boring to watch. And as it got worse after I read parts of the novel and learned more about the theories of time travel and Albert Einstein. And of course, at the same time, I was actually working on a graphic novel that involves time travel and time paradoxes, which is in this film. Time paradoxes can be debated, I'm sure. Now, I don't want to be trolled on the internet for saying, "Oh, you're wrong. You don't know science." Well, first of all, it's science fiction. Anything involving time travel is science fiction because it involves some of the most complex plot details and twists out there because of the paradoxes. Um, in this, I personally am not a fan of the timeline protection era. It's irritating, and that basically is what part of my graphic novel is based on. It's based on the timeline protection um, um, aspect of it and fighting against it to save the future. And to allow the timeline to change along with them changing in the past. Again, and I'm also doing this to basically further complex the story and create many different installments. And the first novel, the first volume is still pending. It has it actually has been disapproved by one publisher because of mainly formatting issues and, of course, the target audience they have at the time. But if you look on my DeviantArt and the rough draft of the first 3 pages, you'll get an idea. Right now, I'm actually trying to basically get it out to the public and make money off of it. And once I do, I'm gonna basically promote it like crazy, and I believe you'll really, really enjoy it. And I'm also submitting it to other publishers. However, it's still pending because they happen to be very, very picky on their formatting and, of course, resolutions. Again, back to the time machine review. Now, you may notice that this is actually one of the two-parters. Of course, all my early reviews are two-parters because of the time constraints that YouTube used to have to certain channels, and I was one of them. And now I can pretty much make them anywhere from under 30 minutes, which is really excellent. It saves a lot of time and a lot of space, if you will, to basically make these videos. Which is why during this commentary I actually have both two parts put together. I've actually been busy lately trying to find other work again. Again, it's tedious for recent college grads. And I might and if the job search is gets me nowhere still, I might move. So I'm expanding my search nationwide if I can. It's gonna be a bit costly, but it's the least I can do. And I also and speaking of the timeline protection mockery that I'm doing that I did I actually did a very long sequence that involves rejection from a club at school, which is actually based on a real life story that I experienced um, about 10 years ago. Well, 7 years prior to this review that came out when I was doing the show. And this is also the first appearance of the idea of one of the characters, Tea Leader, being the judge of the cheerleading tryouts. This was actually based on a real event for when I did actually try out for cheerleading at one of my old high schools. I actually went to two different high schools. This was the first one that I'm basing this flashback and memoir off of, and traveling back in time to actually get the required tumbling skill they want for girls who make the squad to actually have. So I go back in time again to master it, and something gets in the way to where it's still the exact same outcome, and I try to make it sound as stupid as possible to actually make it seem to actually get the idea of how stupid it sounds in the actual story that in the Time Machine movie that I was reviewing. And that saucer at the end I should have edited better, but it is a time travel saucer, as I explained in one of the time travel theories regarding UFOs. And that really only happens if you happen to use like an anti-gravity field to somehow break the light barrier, which in ordinary stances would be physically impossible because gravity would increase and you would crush. You don't really have to be a physicist to understand this, but a physicist would probably have a better idea of grasping it. And also, the time machine itself works in a way that wouldn't agree with the laws of physics regarding going backwards and forward in time, because it's really just stationary. Do I really need to explain more? And so there, of course, he goes to the not so distant future, which is way too distant, depending on what year it is now versus where he travels to in the movie. I'm which but however, the moon setting, the moon colonization is not it actually sounds very realistic though, but just not for that particular time period. And it would make sense that people would colonize the moon because of overpopulation. I mean, come on. During this, when I reviewed this movie, the world population actually reached 7 billion people. That's with a B. Billion with a B people around the world. And if it grows at that rate, imagine how many people we would have now. Now, in all fair sense, it really is. We don't really know what the Earth's true carrying capacity is, so it would make sense that people would colonize the moon or Mars, and and they happen to and apparently the population grew too much to the point where they couldn't settle on the moon anymore, and so it had to be demolished. And there you have a shattered moon, which wouldn't really make sense because there is no extreme tidal surges and tsunamis as it would disrupt the gravitational pull, because you know that everyone knows that that the moon basically controls the tides. That's a fact, as well as any other celestial bodies that are around us. However, if there's one thing I really have to praise for the distant future with the Eloi and the Morlocks is the cliff villages. These look epic, and to tell you the truth, they're pretty much inspiration for my own little utopia in heaven. When in fact it's really a dystopia because they have to hide from the man-eating Morlocks. And as a result, they happen to become Bigfoot monsters that drag people under the sand and eat them. Yeah, it kind of a lot reminds me of that chopped up human pit in the that where they had for human sacrifices, kind of like in the 2013 Tomb Raider reboot, and that's like it had to do with the geothermal caves. Yes, the geothermal caves, which has people imprisoned, and they would basically chop up their bodies. It's very graphic and disturbing, and that scene in the Tomb Raider reboot, I'm like, oh my god, can't believe that she's able to do this and not be scarred for life, because these were actually human beings, and for these prisoners that were still in there waiting to be sacrificed, you weren't able to save them as you were saving your friends in that new Tomb Raider. It must be a lot that the new Lara has to go through. I mean, it is overall a good game, but that's actually the most disturbing part. Now, however, I am really pissed off that Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics had Microsoft jump in on the project. I really, really want them to do PS4 port, to port it to the PS4 or at least the Steam network, which is probably going to take up way too much space on my computer anyway, if that were true. But if they were able to do another console port, they should pretty much just have Microsoft off the bandwagon. Microsoft's not making it, they're just distributing it. Now with the Uber Morlock, not to be confused with the cab service Uber. The only thing is Uber just charges a lot more than Yellow Cab, but the Uber Morlock has a backbone sticking out of it. I just can't get it because I'm just so squeamish. And yeah, so I really exploded on the part where he destroys the time machine and cannot really go back to his home time period to begin with. He's just stuck there. And also he's actually the only modern human left in the world. Because again, the Uli are not actually human. They're actually vulnerable, skimpy humans that fall prey to the Morlocks.
Looking at fucking stones from debris of New York.
And there's of course my many outbursts where I called bullshit on him not being able to take Emma, his girlfriend, his dead girlfriend, back in the time machine with them. They're like, oh no, heart attack! For no reason! It violates causality. Where if he tries to change it, God will actually try to basically have a witch hunt on his girlfriend. Imagine how odd that would sound. That's also what my graphic novel Gaia Solace would actually reference, and of course insults, because it is pretty offensive to many of us, and I would call bullshit on it. But again, time paradoxes. There's many time paradoxes you can create. It's just to basically further complex the story and add more to it. You can see how stupid this sounds. You just look like a fucking retard. I mean, yeah, and the part where he pretty much turns the stone language into this big library. Again, that's he doesn't really have any other literature except some old landmarks from old letters from old landmarks, not actual literature. By the way, are really stupid in this movie. That look like fake Yetis that have been shaved. And one of them is seen running past Alex and not even trying to cannibalize him, because Morlocks are superhumanoid mutant cannibals. Sorry about that, but you may be wondering the shirt I was wearing that day. The Rainbow Dash 20% cooler kind of shirt. Again, this was also done during the My Little Pony reboots popularity heyday among the bronies. And I just wanted to add on to a little MLP flair to, you know, get a lot of people's attention. And also the fact that the time I unfortunately lost Mia was the same day that they aired that pet episode where Fluttershy gets Rainbow Dash a pet and they all have to compete for it and stuff like that. And it was ironic because it was the same day I lost my own pet, sadly. and I got a new one. I got Angel. And I immediately saw her on Puppy Find. I'm like, I want her. She's the closest thing to Meansy, even though she on the inside she's completely different, and that's what makes her special. And um, I basically just took money out of my account and placed the first dollar down on her as soon as possible before anyone else did. And I'm like, I'm interested in your dog. Here's the money, and I will. And they said, okay, and they basically said, deal. We'll have her ready to have you pick her up by Tuesday or so. And that's pretty much what happened. Long story short, and anyway, I really thank you for all 50 of my subscribers for subscribing. If you like the video and work that I do, please subscribe. I really hope to gain a wider audience in the future, because, well, it can really benefit me and give you something that you love. So, anyway, this is my second commentary aside from my Magic Island review. If you want to see more commentaries from me, put in the comment section on which one of my reviews you want me to comment on, and I will be happy to do so. I will be able to comment on what I was thinking at the time, and how I edited the whole thing and stuff like that. Ah, these My lip is sore. I don't know how I got dry lip. Whatever. Don't get 30 thoughts. And right here, I'm happy to have Angel by my side. She's cuddling against the back of my neck. She does the little neck pillow snuggly sometimes, and I really like that a lot. And as seen in my King and I reviews and other videos I post on YouTube, she does the muffle bark. This she doesn't really open her mouth if she barks over and over again, which is actually very funny and unique. I mean, she does do the red rum bark like Mia did, but she doesn't do it as much. She mostly does the muffle bark. You can also put in the comment section on what unique antics your dogs do, and if you're not a dog person, you could pretty much just use your cats, your parrots, your horses or whatever, and I'll be okay. Now she's licking me because she's a very sweet girl. Man, I have to drone on like this again. I mean, again, combining these two-parter reviews really makes a lot of takes up a lot of time to talk. So I'll basically talk about my life in general if I wanted to. That's why people move from time to time. And plus, you don't want to get too attached to one place overall because it's going to be so emotional and stuff like that. I mean, it's different from moving around if you were in college because at least you can go back to your hometown every once in a while very easily when you're in college. And that's essentially what happened. So, yeah, this is Marlyonama. Hope you enjoyed this comedy. This is Marlyonama signing off, and have a nice life. Hope nothing unfortunate happens.